I thought I'd take a break from covering horror for a bit and talk about some other stuff, and I thought I'd start doing that by covering Locke. The movie opens with Tom Hardy's character Ivan Locke getting into his car and driving away from work, and for the rest of the movie, he never leaves the car. We just follow him, and we never cut to anything else either. The entire story of why he's driving, where he's going, and the situation that he's in is told to us through a series of phone calls that he makes on his car's speaker. I absolutely love this gimmick. It's probably something that every filmmaker with a low budget wishes they could pull off, but in order to make it actually work, it's not as simple as simply putting someone in a car and saying go. In order to make a film like this work, I feel like you need a few things. Number one, you need a central performance that can actually carry the movie basically alone. Number two, you need a story that's actually worth telling, obviously. And number three, you need someone who can direct the camera in a way that makes this single location still feel dynamic and interesting. And Locke has all three of those things. Tom Hardy gives what is probably a career best performance in this movie. He proves himself to be more than capable of carrying a film like this, where it's basically a one-man show, and yet due to the strength and the complexity of Hardy's acting, the movie's actually riveting. He does a great job of portraying the strength and the resolve of this character, while also portraying the grief and the anger that start to emerge as this series of events continue to unfold. And that brings me to my second point. It's not enough to simply live off the gimmick of the car thing or the strength of Tom Hardy's performance. In order to be worthwhile, Locke needed to actually tell a good story, and I think it does that. There's three separate stories happening simultaneously that Ivan Locke has to resolve over the phone throughout the course of this night. And as each of those stories develops, we learn more and more about this character. And the resolutions of those stories in the end don't exactly tie everything up into a nice, neat little bow. All the messiness and brokenness of real life is still left intact here, and yet in that, there's still a beauty and a nobility that emerges, and it's really moving to see. And finally, to my third point, in order to make this movie work, you needed a director who could point the camera in order to keep things fresh and interesting, and Locke got that in director Stephen Knight. Visually, the movie flows and looks great because of his directing choices, and it never gets old just seeing this one guy sitting in the car because of how the movie is presented. So yeah, great job to everyone on the technical side of things. So to wrap things up, I think that Locke tells a phenomenal story full of complexity by using this very simple gimmick of just showing one dude sitting in a car. It's quite an achievement. In my opinion, it's a 9 out of 10.